We have the seated triceps exercise. The most important part on this is finding your footing and where you need to stand. The closer we sit towards the connection point of the straps, the more difficult it is. The farther we scoot away to a certain point, the easier this exercise is. We want to simply stand up and actively drive both hands towards the ground, keeping the straps tight. Next, we have the leaning back and alternating biceps. Again, find your proper footing. The farther under the straps we stand, the more difficult. You're going to drive one elbow high and curl with that arm while actively pushing down with a straight arm with the other side. You will then come back to center and start over. As you can see, my body is rising and falling with each rep here. The majority of the work to bring my body up is being done with the curling arm. The third exercise is the seated biceps. Your footing will be around the same spot of the seated triceps. This time we're keeping our elbows high and using both arms to curl us up into a standing position. Again, our biceps are doing the majority of the work here. We want to use them to make ourselves stand. Keep the straps tight with as little slack in it as possible. We will then flip around into the falling triceps. The easiest way to think of the falling triceps is treat it like a skull crusher. Footing is extremely important on this exercise. Small steps make big differences. The farther under the straps I am, the more difficult. The more upright I'm standing, the easier. I want to keep my elbows at an elevated plane up towards my face the entire time. Again, your body's a machine. Let it rise and fall. No rest before starting over into round 2. Back to the seated triceps exercise. The majority of my work here is done through pushing the handles into the ground as hard as I can. I want my triceps doing the work here to make myself stand. Again, the closer to the connection point of the straps, the more difficult. I'll then take a step back and right into the alternating biceps. During this, try to get a nice little glute squeeze the entire time to make sure you're standing completely straight. And again, the curling arm is doing the majority of the work here. However, the arm that I'm driving down and straight is also doing work. Third exercise again is the seated bicep. The footing will be around the same spot as the seated triceps. Keeping your elbows high, use your biceps to stand up. You're probably feeling it in your legs at this point. That's okay too. Just remember, we want our biceps doing as much work as possible here. Then we flip around into the falling triceps exercise. Keep those elbows high, drive your hands back towards your head, and then push yourself back up to a standing position. Your wrist can be rotated in a little bit here. Do what feels best on your elbows. Do what feels best, and you can feel the most work being done in your triceps. We also want to be on our tippy toes with our heels off the ground the entire time. Last set, best set. Back to the seated triceps. Remember, control your breathing. 1 breath per rep here on the seated triceps exercise. Then take a step back and prepare for the alternating biceps. Really concentrate on the fact that your body is rising and falling and your biceps are doing the work. Next, we're back to the seated biceps exercise. You have 40 seconds of work left. You got this. The higher your elbows and the harder you pull your hands towards your face, the more work we're getting out of our biceps. Then we're flipping around and going back to the falling triceps. 20 seconds of work left. As always, little changes make big differences in the difficulty of these exercises. Remember to breathe. Take a water break for 2 minutes before starting the next